Ollie and Steven's 2013-14 NBA Preview Show. Number 26.
Welcome back to Ollie and Steven's 2013-14 NBA Preview. Number 26 has arrived. Orlando Magic, Stephen Edwards.
What a wonderful city. It's the home of Disney, the home of the Magic, and sadly for them, they are number 26 in my power rankings as we enter the NBA season.
There really isn't much to say about them before we check out what they did last summer. I mean, they're a bit much of a nothingness since Dwight Howard left in all that fiasco.
I think that was a big key thing for them. It's like moving along Dwight Howard and moving on from that particular nightmare scenario and trying to rebuild their identity with a new team. I mean, I think that obviously the main thing that the franchise has undergone has been it's got rid of that soap opera, and that's what you can say. That the whole situation with regard to him was a soap opera, and the city of Orlando is better off without him. Not so much from a basketball point of view on the court, but as a city and moving along to try and become a better team in the NBA over the long term. And I think that obviously the main person they brought in is Victor Oladipo. And he's a guy that myself and you will be talking about over the coming season.
Yeah, let's check out what they did last summer. As you can see, they did absolutely nothing. They did nothing. They drafted Victor Oladipo. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was their main thing. I mean, Oladipo coming over in a draft, there's some discussion over exactly what position he's going to play this coming season. I think that's not going to be known straight away. That's one of the big question points that Orlando have. I think my gut feeling at the moment is he's more likely to be the first guy off the bench rather than actually starting.
This is what scares me about the Magic. I've been saying this to you for weeks. I really like Victor Oladipo when he came out of Indiana. He shot just crazy hot from the floor last year. It was something like 64%. Something crazy. It wasn't that from three, but just in general, 64% coming out of Indiana. And I thought him and Ben McLemore were the two best guys in last year's draft. I've heard rumours for weeks now they're going to play him at the point. He's not a point guard. It speaks that they're trying to tank, and I don't blame them. Looking at their roster right now, they have nothing to gain from trying to push further up. They may as well just regress as far as possible, see if Oladipo can play at the point, figure out that he can't do, but then still play him there and try and explain that you're trying to develop his point skills, then draft someone next year and move him back to the two.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think if they can keep Jameer Nelson healthy, then I don't think he will play at the point guard at all this season. I think they'd be much better off keeping Jameer Nelson there and playing him at the two. And doing that, but at the moment I think they're going to bring him off the bench. I can't see any reason right now to play him at the one. If you're asking a shooting guard to play a point guard and spend more time trying to distribute the ball, then you're taking away some of the time they need to actually be shooting the ball. We've already seen some good moments from the guy in the pre-season, so I wouldn't want to hamper his shooting in any way.
You're talking into every reason why they will do it. You just said it will help them to have Jameer Nelson. They don't want help. If you're trying to tank a season, you do not want help. You want to be able to explain odd moves. I've just given them the explanation. We're finding out if he can do it or not. And then I'm going to find out he can't do it. I like the move. Just play him there. Try and lose the season. We've gone through so many bum teams right now. They all should just tank. And I think Orlando should be the first to go.
Yeah, I can see why they would tank, but I really would hope that they wouldn't tank, to be completely honest with you. I don't want to see any team potentially try and tank. I know we're going to have a bit of fun with that towards the end of the season where teams are probably falling over themselves trying to lose games.
Expiring contract, Hedo Turkoglu, $12 million, very tradable asset.
Yeah, I mean, I think even I heard some rumours with potentially him going over to Chicago in one deal, in potential deal, but I think he'll be moved, but unlike what we talked about at 27, I think he might be less likely to be moved than Ben Gordon, because I think Gordon is a better player for that roundabout same figure.
Yeah, Gordon at least offers something. So if you're taking on the expiring contract to be an expiring, at least you get something back from Gordon as a shooter. And that's why I think he makes great sense in Houston. Turkoglu, I don't know what people are really going to get from him at this stage for that amount of money. They would just be absorbing that for expiring contract's sake.
Yeah. I think you don't. I think even when you're trying to take on an expiring contract, you want to take on an expiring contract that at least gives you some value in some respects. I mean, unless you're really going to take on a guy that you really don't care about, if you have the right scenario for that to happen. But I can see a better move for Gordon than I can for Turkoglu.
All right, then let's check out their rotation. I think it's all right. I think there's some nice pieces there. We rave about Nikola Vukovic. We love this guy.
Yeah, I think Nikola Vukovic is a very good centre. I don't think he gets talked about enough because of obviously where he's down in Orlando. I think last season he averaged 13 points, 12 rebounds, and even towards the end of the season he was actually averaging more than that. I think for me, he is probably the outside of Oladipo the most interesting player on the Magic. And they're blessed in some respects. The Magic have got a couple of reasonably good centres. They've got Vukovic, and then they've got a reasonably good backup in Kylo Quinn as well, who can pretty much put up those same kind of numbers, spotting Vukovic in the rotation. I think where they run into problems for me is I don't think Glenn Davis is necessarily the solution at power forward. I liked him in college, but I don't like him in the NBA. I think he's very, for me, quite limited offensively, and I think that the Magic can do much better at that position. I think one of the key moves I think I'd like to see potentially happen for the Magic is seeing how they're going to rotate. And I think this is what they're actually more likely to do. And I think this would be the best thing for them to do, is rotate Tobias Harris, Afalo and Oladipo. Them three at the 2 and the 3. I think for me that's how I would work. I think I would take Oladipo out of the point guard equation and rotate those three. But Tobias Harris is going to be the starting small forward. It's his position to lose. And then Afalo at the shooting guard position will be trying to hold off Oladipo, and maybe it'll be Oladipo that eventually will step into that. And of course you've got the veteran Jameer Nelson at the point guard position that it is solid, but I think he's got to be the guy you've got to look to replace at some point.
Tobias Harris, the secret fantasy sleeper. If you look at his stats from last year, 17 points per game, 8 rebounds a game, 8.5 rebounds per game, and 1 block a game. The guy can ball a little bit. Yeah,
the guy can ball a bit, as I say, but I think the Magic may very well look to put in some kind of rotation around those two positions, around the shooting guard and the small forward position. That maybe it might mean that, say, Tobias Harris plays, say, 35 minutes a game, Afalo plays like 35 minutes a game, and then Oladipo picks up, I think at least about 25 minutes a game. So that Oladipo will play the 2, and Afalo will move up to the 3 and give Tobias Harris a rest. And I think that might be the way they might try and get Oladipo involved. I think that will be a much better solution for them than trying to ask Oladipo to play the point guard position. And then it'll all depend on the 2 starters at the 2 and the 3, whether they get off to slow starts and give the coach an excuse to try and play Oladipo more minutes. Or if Oladipo plays incredibly well coming off the bench, then you might look to move him into the rotation anyway as a starter.
Let's move on then to Jedi Ollie. Most knowledgeable he is.
Jedi Ollie.
The 2013-14 Orlando Magic, Mr. Edwards, contain the Rookie of the Year. At shooting guard, Mr. Victor Oladipo, number 2 overall pick, out of Indiana University, will be this year's Rookie of the Year. It'll be a big tussle between him and CJ McCollum because of the shooting rights. Trey Burke will be in the equation because he's a starting point guard with the Jazz. But the overall winner is Mr. Victor Oladipo.
I completely agree. I can't go against that. I mean, as I say, I've seen this guy in pre-season. I've seen bits of what he did in college last season. Just an exciting player, and I think Orlando Magic fans are going to be falling over this guy as the season goes along, and want this guy to be on the court more and more. And I think it's going to become quite hard for the coach not to play him. And I think the temptation is there to try and tank, but I don't think you're going to be able to. And this guy may not allow you to. That this guy may end up trying to take over games by himself.
My favourite thing about him is even though he's an out-and-out shooter, he loves defence. If anyone's ever heard interviews with him, his favourite thought is guarding LeBron. That is what he dreams about, is guarding LeBron. Not scoring a buzzer beater, guarding LeBron. Now, he's too small to guard LeBron, which is wonderful for him. But that's what he dreams about, and I love that in him, that he also loves to defend the basketball. Unlike some of the rookies like Shabazz Muhammad, out-and-out shooters who may struggle at the NBA level with lack of defence, he loves to defend and he works hard on that craft. I love this team for the future. You've got Harris, who I really like, Tobias Harris. You've got Nikola Vukovic, who we spoke about. We both love at centre. They've got some cap room. They've got Victor Oladipo. They get rid of that Turkoglu contract. And they might have a high pick in next year's draft in what is a stacked lottery. I think the future's pretty bright for Orlando. Yeah,
the future is pretty particularly bright for Orlando. But the first thing is they've got to ensure they don't win too many games this season. I think that's the first thing they're going to have to try and ensure. And I think the Turkoglu contract's going to be harder to move than they think.
They can just sit him out for the season, get his $12 million or whatever he's checked to get, and say, just give us the cap room at the end.
I think that's what they're going to have to do, because I don't know if too many teams are going to want to take that on.
Stevens' 24-second shot clock, prediction clock then. Mr. Edwards, 24 seconds. Let us know everything that's happening in Orlando's season. 24 seconds from your first word, go.
Oladipo must play the 2. He should not be allowed anywhere near that point guard position. Roll with Jameer Nelson. If it blows up, then that's fine, but don't be tempted to play Oladipo there. Vucevic will increase his numbers. He will look to potentially be a 16 to 18 point per game scorer, and also the rebounding will go up. A potential rebound champion at the end of the season, and the Magic will look forward to a bright future.
I like it. I like it a lot. I agree with every point you made. I think they are going to try the experiment at some point during the season of Oladipo to lose games. They're going to be a team at the end of the season who we are laughing at with some of the injuries, quote unquote, that have befalled some of the guys on their team. I think they're going to be one of those interesting defeat kind of guys trying to lose games.
Yeah, I think they're going. I think sometimes you're going to take a look at this team and just think, how on earth did you lose that game? You just played a great game. I think they're also going to be a team as well that might put up like 110 points and give up 115. They're going to be an exciting team to watch. It's one of those nights when your team isn't playing, and maybe it's a quiet night on the schedule.
I agree.
Maybe turn on League Pass and take a look at Oladipo, a rookie. You've got Vucevic. I think that's going to be a fun guy to watch this season. So I do believe that he could go up to 16 to 18 points a game and be a rebounding champion.
Yeah, they're going to be up and down this year, up and down the floor. They're definitely going to be on my League Pass schedule as well. So I want to see what Oladipo is going to do. My rookie of the year. I think he's going to shoot lights out.
Yeah, I think this guy can just be a machine at times coming into the game. I think I'd say a potential also a sixth man of the year, maybe.
Agreed. All right, then let's go Destination City. The Destination Orlando.
Destination City.
I like it.
But yeah, I've never been to Orlando, but it would be a city that I would go to. It's got, for me, a basketball team that's got a bright future ahead of it. It's going to take a couple of years to get to that point, but it's definitely a city I'd go to. You've got Disney as well. What more could you want? You can't be unhappy in Orlando. So for me, I would give Orlando a 7.
I'd be skipping Disney. I'd be on the sun, beer, the beach, the sand, the tan of ladies, champagning and campaigning, Gator Nation, 7.5 for me as well. I love it out there.
Maybe Ollie and myself will grace the city of Orlando at some point.
We will do. Orlando, big shout out to you. Massive props above the city of Charlotte. Should definitely give us some sort of guest passes to some Magic games.
Exactly. We're going to see some Magic games and maybe pop to South Beach as well and take in a Miami Heat game.
Yeah, let's bring up Mike Inglis. Let's try and get to South Beach after we've been to Orlando. I like that one. All right, thanks for checking out number 26 of the... Oh, God. Edit. Is it 26?
It is 26.
Oh, I thought I got it wrong. All right. Thanks for checking out number 26 on Stephen Edwards' Power Rankings. Again, I didn't write these. Aim all your hatred and drivel at him. Coach Mark, you heard it here first. 26. We'll see you for 25.
We will see you for 25, and that will be coming up shortly.
Thanks for downloading Ollie and Steven's 2013-14 NBA Preview Show. Please continue to check out the First Take UK podcast.